Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Welcome back, Maple Leafs fans. After a big win, Johnny Toronto killing the Cats with 21 seconds to go in overtime in Florida. Final 3 games this season. Fouad, welcome back, buddy. Let's go.
Let's go. I'm sorry. When did John Tavares learn how to skate really fast? Like, that's the fastest I have ever seen that man skate. And he is like 14 years in the league.
It's short bursts. He's like Gimli. They're very, very dangerous over short distances, just not consistently fast.
I mean, JT, man, with a backhand buries it. Like, love to see him have confidence going into the postseason. And also, I have to point out, he's the first NHL player to ever be the captain of 2 teams at the same time, because what he did was helped his former team he used to be the captain of in the New York Islanders. According to Jack Conroy in the chat saying, thank you, John Tavares, for saving the Islanders season. Apparently, they do need him. That is such ire. Like, will he be cheered when he goes? He should get a hero's welcome.
No, never.
He should get an absolute
hero's welcome. He should. He won't.
Give him that bagel. Give him that blue and orange bagel they were offering him.
No, they don't. He doesn't need it because he's got a blue and white victory going into at the end of game 80. I can't believe we're almost at the end of the season. Game 80.
It's it. Here we are, guys. Here we are. And you know what? I got to say, get in on the action and make your bet with Sports Interaction. Every hit, every shot, every goal from your favorite teams and players like the Toronto Maple Leafs and John Tavares scoring an OT winner to help both teams with competitive odds, the best live in play, and more ways than ever to get into the game, like Minute Madness, our exclusive game with so many opportunities to win by the minute. Download the app in Ontario, use the QR code you see on the bottom of the screen, or head to sportsinteraction.com/STPN to get started. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. And, I tweeted it out. Obviously, the win was thrilling, even though the game they were getting absolutely shelled.
OT, they got caved in.
Oh, they're caved most of the game.
Yeah,
I found
the last 10 minutes specifically. It was like, for those of you that don't know or are new to the chat, welcome to Game Over Toronto. We're happy to have you. Generally, Fouad and I usually start our calls with like 5 minutes left to go in the game. So we usually, most of the Game Over streams, whichever channel you watch on Game Over, if it's this one or Edmonton or Vancouver, usually the people that are hosting end up meeting about 5 minutes beforehand. So we usually end up seeing the end of the game together. And Fouad was actually a few seconds behind tonight's game, and so I always feel kind of bad. I always feel kind of bad because I'm very excited whenever the Leafs score. So I'm not quiet when teams that I'm cheering for score. So unfortunately, I deafen whoever I'm doing the game over with whenever we win. But what a win! And honestly, the Leafs were trailing in shots the whole game. Even though today was a tumultuous day, I think we all hoped that tonight would end the way it did with 2 points in Sunrise, Florida. And what a game. Even though there was not a lot to talk about. This is the whole game's notes for that. Look at that. That's not much.
A little concerning. It's a little concerning, isn't it? Like, are we just going to sit here and we'll just sit here and babble for about 35 minutes?
No, not at all. There's lots to talk about, right? Like
outside of the game. Yeah, let's talk about accounting, shall we? Like, should I get H&R Block on the phone? I don't know.
We should call Brandon Pridham. We should send Brandon Pridham an email and be like, "Hey, man, do you want to jump on Game Over Toronto?"
I'll call an accountant right now because I don't understand.
You've gotten all kinds of people to reply to your emails all season, Fouad. So if anybody's gonna get Brandon Pridham on the show, it might be you.
I'll go. Yeah. Hey, you never know. You know what I mean? Like, I can try to work my magic, and the cap shenanigans it's just hilarious. Just like my eyes go. Like, how did this work? Like, sometimes this league just paints itself to a corner with, like, when your fans are, like, have to become actual CPAs to understand what's going on, that's a problem, okay? Yeah. Because, and a friend of the show, Nick Richard, actually sent out a tweet that I really liked. He said that a rule that they should implement is that you can have a third goalie at all times as long as the player is a league min player, but, like, you can kind of call them as a break glass in case of emergency that doesn't count against the cap. And I think that's a good idea. I mean, you can kind of get a guy that's, maybe decent enough to put in there, but as not the top 60 goalies, maybe an old veteran, maybe somebody who's kind of flamed out, give him a chance. But to have somebody that is literally like a civilian off the street play a net, that's a bad look for your league. Like, could you imagine Gordon Ramsay allowing somebody in his Michelin star restaurant, everybody gets sick, and he brings me on the line, and he's like, so we have this here bowl of Raisin Bran. Fouad made it for you. Yeah. So that's my rant. I mean, because I'm like, it looks bad when you have like 2 games in a row. You have 2 people that are literally civilians trying to get in the net. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and they didn't put him in at the net. But let's rewind. Let's rewind 36 hours, because the reason that the Leafs are in this trouble is because yesterday the Leafs, as we all hoped and prayed, got to sign Matthew Knies to a 3-year entry-level contract at $925,000 against the cap, leaving them enough room for not even a Gucci purse, as I saw somebody put it on
Not even
Twitter.
a playoff ticket.
Yeah.
That was the one I saw. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah. It was basically just under $4,000 that they have left, which is not a lot of money. And it seemed like they were trying to, weasel their way around things. And even though I'm sure everybody that is here, everybody's watching, everybody that is listening right now is very happy that the Leafs have now signed Matthew Knies, the prospect we have all been waiting for them to sign.
Absolutely.
Literally this whole season and all of last season. And that's great. Except now, tonight, we have this conundrum, right? Yeah. We have this thing where, as our friend and host Armand Panthaki very so wisely tweeted out earlier, every time Samsonov stretches to make a save, he winced, and so did I.
Oh my God! We're whole game. I was
Chad,
everybody.
If you did one of these, or at least made one whimper, if you made a single sound or any kind of sound came out of your voice box when Sammy was making so many of those saves tonight, and he was the Leafs' best player tonight. Like, don't get me wrong, Matthew Knies had a great game tonight. Ilya Samsonov is the only reason that the Leafs won that game. And he held their ass in it the whole time. And this is funny because last time the Leafs faced the Panthers, it was Alex Lyon that was goalieing the other team, right?
Lyon.
And tonight it's Ilya Samsonov that ends up getting the 2 points, which is great. And Ilya Samsonov has to be our best player, and he is our best player, and we are all terrified of something happening where he is not going to be eligible to play or available.
You're cooked. You're cooked.
And so, Leaf fans are a little bit stressed. And I don't know. I mean, Matthew Knies looked great tonight. He looked good. He had his first, he steps on the ice for the first point in the game on the power play, which one way to start your NHL career, starting in game 80 on the power play. Okay. He looked good tonight, but I would almost rather have had Wool.
Yes, I think so too.
Than Matthew Knies.
I think so too. Like, don't get me wrong. And people in the chat are saying, Knies looked like a player. Absolutely, he did. Like, we're always excited about new prospects. Like,
new shiny thing. It's new
people.
Shiny
like
thing.
We all like, and he comes so highly regarded. And I liked a lot of what he did. He's a big boy and he's a big strong kid for his age, and he was able to fend off defenders a couple of times and create some scoring chances based on that. And you have to think he might get even stronger. I think he's only 20, I'm sure. I don't remember exactly when he was drafted or what his age is, but around that, he's early 20, so he has a ways
He's 19.
to go.
He's not even 20 yet.
He's 19. Wow.
He's not turning 20 until like 3 weeks into next season.
Wow.
His birthday is late in the year.
He's a youngin', so he's got a long way to go as far as building strength. And he looked like he had a lot of skill, but to your point, even if they didn't even bring up the goalie, honestly, I say this totally honestly, I would have rather put in, I don't even know the goalie's name that they brought, the ATO they brought in, or the PTO they brought in. I would have rather them to start him the game. I'm like, you know what? It's not ideal to lose a game 10-0, but at this point, health is going to be your ultimate win because you're locked in. You got the home ice. Why are we playing with matches and gasoline in the forest? Yeah. With Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah.
If Ilya Samsonov plays tomorrow, then they need to fire Sheldon Keefe
Then
immediately.
Sheldon Keefe is going to be getting a very strongly worded email from my person. From
like
me.
I don't care.
Also,
I don't care.
Shout out Kaya from Game Over Vancouver in the chat right now. How dumb how the NHL can be like, no, you don't need emergency assistance. Arizona can't pay arena rent.
Oh yeah.
Listen,
yeah,
Kaya, don't forget the Leafs are like the evil like stepchild of the NHL somehow, even though they're an original six team. Whereas like Arizona is like the rainbow baby of Gary Bettman, and is like this is my
little bird. You know the little bird that like breaks its wings and then you nurse it back to life and you lift it up. That's what he's been trying to do for 25 years. Like, come on, little baby, you can fly. Yeah, I know. Anytime Arizona has a problem, like
except
the Bernie
that Arizona
Sanders
is
meme?
A condor, not a budgie.
You know, like that Bernie Sanders meme where he's like running. Like that every time that Gary Bettman has a problem. Oh, sorry. Every time Arizona has a problem, Gary Bettman is just, I'm coming. But I would have rather them played the PTO and just like make a mockery of the whole thing. Help Lou Lamoriello, or sorry, screw Lou Lamoriello over, and he would be like, try to get revenge.
No, I think it's fine. I'm glad that, because this is what I like to do. When people really make me mad, what I actually like to do is just like sprinkle kindness on them just to really irritate them. So I'm low-key kind of glad that even though Kaya very politely asked in the Game Over group chat she replied to me on Twitter, I'm mistaken, asking that we let the Panthers win, but best I got is 1 point for the Panthers because they're in the Atlantic Division. So
at the same when everything's locked down, I'm like, just get to game 1. What is it, April 17th? Just get to April 17th.
Yeah. Now.
Just get there. I don't care how.
Now we do need to talk about the game, so let's talk about it. The Leafs got a power play real early, like a minute 15 to go, or a minute 15 into the game. Knies gets on the ice, like we said. I think he had like a single touch on that first time he hit the ice, which is fine. There was a solid 5-on-5 shift right after that by Matthew Knies, though, in Florida's end, having the puck, not letting it go, having one of I think it's Eric Stahl down there and getting him back and forth across the boards. It was really nice to see. He did a really good job of holding the puck and standing up against Florida. He took a couple really big hits in the game, but he's not a small dude, even though he's only 19, and which is, if you're my age or a couple years younger, then you're like, oh my God, he's so young. And if he's playing that well now, he's only going to get better. And the fact that he didn't score tonight or anything, I don't find super troubling. He had a couple really nice passes. That Knies pass with 18 seconds to go to Alex Kerfoot in the Leafs end, the between the legs like deflection pass was like, ooh, that looks good. Now, having said that, there were a lot of missed passes in tonight's game. And it was kind of the reason that the Leafs were on their heels so much, is because they had so many giveaways, just bad passes, no look passes, just really not good puck management. And it's funny, like the last few games, they've either had really good puck management, like they had the other night against the Habs, or you have a game like tonight where it's like for every single pass that you successfully make tape to tape, there are 3 that you've either given away or you didn't push it hard enough to actually clear the zone. And habits like that in the playoffs are they're gonna nip us in the ass, and it's gonna be really bad if another turnover like that. And luckily, Samsonov bailed Matthew Knies out. Right, he had that one really bad pass that was picked up in their own end, and Sammy bailed him out. Thank goodness. Yeah,
try doing that to Kucherov. Give that puck to Kucherov. See what's gonna happen in a couple weeks.
Exactly,
right? You might not have the same result.
Yeah, and like let's not forget guys like Alex Galchenyuk with the bad, stupid no look pass. Who was it? Travis Dermott with the bad stupid pass. Right, like
who also wore 23. So there you go.
I know, and let's hope that is the only remnant of those moments was that
when you
tonight.
Have the puck, when he don't spin.
Just don't assume somebody is there if they're not.
Just don't do it. Yeah. It's easy. Just don't spin. Just look where the puck is going, and you'll probably be fine. A little bit of an update. Knies is actually. I wanted to look it up and see if he's actually born after the last time the Leafs won the first round, just so everybody could be like, ha ha ha. But no, he's born in October 2002, so he is 20 going on 21. So that means he's too old, and it's time to trade him. No, I'm just kidding. But,
poor Kaya having her first moment of, what do you mean Matthew Knies is younger than me? This is pain.
He's not. It's okay. okay.
He is, because Kaya's a couple years older, but that's my whole life now.
Yeah, welcome to that age when, like, I remember when I was...
Like, people are like, oh, Sidney Crosby is so old, and I'm like, I'm only a year younger than him.
When the first NHL players to get drafted of my age group was 2012, and that makes me feel very, very old. Like, Morgan Riley, I think, is younger than me, and I'm like, geez. Yeah. Everyone's like talking about him. Everybody's talking about him.
Oh, Knies is older than Kaya. Okay, well, that's good. I'm happy for you, Kaya. Yeah, I mean, listen, age is just a number, right? Like, Jaromir Jagr is proving that every single day. Mark Giordano is playing like he's 28, not 38. Like, you know, there are players that are able to go long time without having real concern towards their age. And I hope that trend continues, because that would be great. But it was nice to have a little bit of fresh blood in the lineup. Like, honestly, all things considered, Matthew Knies looked pretty good tonight. Like I said, there was more than one chance, more than one shot that went off the post, that if it had hit an inch to the right or to the left, then it's going in the net, and Matthew Knies gets an assist, and we're all sitting here screaming our faces off about how he's the next so-and-so and eat my shorts, Montreal, and all this other stuff, right? Like, it's probably good for us that we don't have that, because I know that Habs fans already think we're the most insufferable people, so, like, I don't want to try.
They might be right. They might be right on that. I cannot confirm or deny, but, I mean, like... I think it'd be more insufferable if we actually won things. Like, if we had like the same amount of cups as Pittsburgh had in the last 20 years, I would say that, I would hate us too, because we'd be just gloating like crazy. But we are so down bad. Just be nice to us, okay? We're trying here. Like, let us have our...
Don't think that we're like this big angry monster. I don't know. We're Leafs fans. We're biased. We can't...
We're the opposite.
We shouldn't be asking people to pity us. Like, I don't want people to pity us. Screw that.
We're the opposite.
I would rather wait and then be right one day. That's what I'm going to do. And Matthews and Marner, you know, as we're going to continue to go through the game here, even though we keep kind of going off topic. Samsonov keeping it at zeros. I have that written like 4 or 5 times. Samsonov, like I said, was the best player tonight. And there was somebody earlier in the chat that said, oh, if that's what the Leafs have to rely on, then they're in trouble. And while you're not entirely wrong, I do have to say, like, anytime you have a team that has a goalie where they're playing very well, if it suddenly goes the other way, then I don't know any team that wouldn't be concerned. Like, you're trying to tell me that if the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'm not saying I want this to happen, if something was to happen to Andrei Vasilevsky tomorrow, that they wouldn't flip out that their game 1 goalie, it might be Brian Elliott. And he's not a bad goalie, but, you know, he's not, you know, Igor Shesterkin or, you know, Varlamov.
He ain't the guy. He ain't that guy. Yeah, I know. I see what you mean.
So it's fair concern. I think any team, if you took away the logo on the front of the jersey, they would say, oh, I understand why a team is concerned about their goalie when they have, you know, when there's been injury issues all season, regardless of what the jersey is. Any team would say that about any team if there was a goalie problem where their number 1 goalie was to go down. At least I would hope.
Yeah, well, there's also, to your point, there's also been cases where a goalie has absolutely stolen a playoff series, right? Like, where random goalies out of nowhere have stolen it. Now, remember, if anybody here is old enough on the chat, remember Archer's Urbe. First playoff series I really paid attention to, or really first playoff run in 2002, that was when the Leafs played the Carolina Hurricanes. And Archer's Urbe, he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. You don't hear stories about him, but he shut it all down, and he's the reason why we didn't win go to the Stanley Cup final that year, though they would have been destroyed by that Detroit team. But point is, long and short of it is, goaltenders can sometimes get hot. And if Ilya Samsonov, if this is in fact his year where he is just confident in stopping everything, then hey, I wouldn't rely totally on that, but that would be a big help for sure.
Someone in the chat said, look at what happened last year with Francois. Yes, but how often does that really happen? Francois, yes. Not Francois, sorry.
You know,
and
Colorado,
the same thing could have been said for Binnington, but, like, let's not pretend like Jordan Binnington is a good person or a goalie we want to discuss in good ways, because gross. I don't have any hand sanitizer, otherwise I would talk about it, but it's going to make me feel dirty. So let's keep our hands off that.
I like the short temper. It's funny, but it's just funny every time, but
it did. I don't even.
Oh, Kemper. Somebody said, yeah, Kemper. That was their goal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's true. It's a good comparison, like Toronto and Colorado, because Kemper obviously is not an all-world elite goaltender, but they relied more on their offense and their, obviously Cale Makar in the back end, but they relied on just kind of bludgeoning teams with offense, and that's a good blueprint for what the Leafs can possibly do or hope to aspire to do in the next couple of months. But let's hope so, right?
Absolutely. And talking about things, your most important players being their most important things. Marner and Matthews, Matthews with the tip from Marner shot from long range, giving Marner 99 points on the season, putting Matthews tied in 5th for all-time goals scored by a Leaf with 299, putting the Leafs up with just a few minutes to go in the second period. They were clearly very excited about that. It's remarkable. There was a decent amount of Leaf fans in the game tonight, although I suppose that's fairly normal. But it seemed like tonight there was less like Go Leafs Go chants, but when the Leafs scored, there was a lot of people that were very excited about that.
Yeah. The invading of the building. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't quite the Ottawa game or the Buffalo games where it's just, oh my God. Like, it's like I felt bad for the players. The players, like, we have to play extra games on the road. This is not fair. But I think it was like a 70-30, I think. I don't think it was too bad. I think the Cats, that's an important game. And I think people were kind of showing up for it, which is good. I root for these teams to have full arenas. Like, I'm not trying to say hockey shouldn't be there because that's silly. I mean, Tampa Bay, couple 100 miles down the road, is doing pretty well. So, I like to see these buildings are filled with fans as well, sure. Even though it's kind of funny to see Go Leafs go. But it's just better for the league as a whole if all these fan bases are actually stronger, right?
It's all good.
I'm not one of those people that says, just move them to Quebec. I mean, well, they're not moving to Quebec, so let's
talk about the now instead.
Let's talk about the now and what's actually realistic. So, oh man, So, I mean, people. If you think like the Matthews and Marner, that's what I was looking for. Matthews and Marner. So Matthews got a puck literally right point blank off the back of the leg.
Back of his right knee.
And that one made me cringe. And I'm like, are you serious with this game? Jake McCabe got a puck in the hand. I'm like, guys,
went down the tunnel, didn't come back and start the third, right? Like the Leafs play 11-7 tonight, and then all of a sudden, they're down and playing 11-6 for part of it, right? And it was, and again, all of us, because of recent injury troubles and recent things that have happened in the playoffs to the Leafs, not to the Leafs, but to players on the Leafs and injuries that we've had. Like, I think anybody that has watched, anybody that could look back on the last few seasons and look at this now and say, oh, I understand why fans of this team are nervous about injuries, because even though in a perfect world, we wouldn't be an injury or two away from devastation. Most teams are an injury or two away from devastation. Right? Yeah. Two bad injuries.
In every sport,
and so,
right?
When you're playing at game 80 and all of this stuff is going on and all this chittering is happening about, the Bruins sat 5 of their players and have half of the Hershey Bears up playing for them, or the Providence Bruins or whatever it is their affiliate team is. And like, whatever, man, unless you're a Boston fan, like, don't care about what Boston does. Let's care about what our guys are doing. And while I would love for Matthews and Marner and nobody to have to play tonight, and for the Marlies to play tonight, it's just not realistic. So while I'm going to wince and whinge and do this sometimes, when Samsonov makes a save and looks like Stretch Armstrong across the goal net, and I make an audible out loud,
when he came up limping, I was like, the last game.
I know.
I was like, put Jet in the net right now. I don't care.
I know.
If Montreal scores 10 straight goals, I don't
take the L.
care.
I don't care.
Take the L.
And I think from here on, you would have to do that, right? Like, even though the Leafs are playing Tampa tomorrow, like, I'm on with Harnish tomorrow, and we're gonna do like a little bit of a series preview with the Lightning. And that's going to be great, but, like, I don't expect that the Leafs are going to come out, like, guns a-blazing tomorrow. Like, I'm glad the Leafs won tonight, but I was fully expecting them to lose because generally on games where they play Monday or Tuesday, they do not play well.
That's right. They
do
hate
not
Mondays.
play well. They do. They tell me why I don't
so
hate
relatable.
Mondays. They do.
They're so relatable. They're
I know.
just like Garfield.
And
they love lasagna, too.
None of us wanted to wake up this morning on a Monday after the long weekend and be like, I can't wait to go to work. Like, if you said that, congratulations, you're one of the few people that loves to go to work every morning. And while I would love to do this every morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, instead I have to go to my job, which is fine, and I love my job. But it's not the same as, like, going and playing an NHL game and knowing that, you know, a week tomorrow, they're probably going to be playing game one of the playoffs. So I imagine with all of the stuff that happened today with Matthew Knies, with all of the cap trouble that I'm sure was alarming for all of the coaching staff today and all of management, maybe not the players so much, but even Matthew Knies coming in today and Sam Lafferty not playing tonight, right? Like, there's all these changes. So I wasn't expecting the Leafs to play well tonight, and I am thrilled that they won in overtime against the Florida Panthers because even though, these games don't matter because we've already punched our ticket, like, we don't know if the Leafs make it to the second round and make it farther down the line, then these games might be important in 3 weeks, right? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility to say that these games are important for the Leafs.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you have to build confidence. Like, there's always the rest versus rust debate where it's like, just don't play anybody. I mean, I'm being facetious in saying, like, don't play any of the goalies, but in this exact situation,
your guys. I would if I could. Trust me.
Like, just there's a fine line. There's a balance. It's not one way or the other. Like, you're not gonna grind them into the ground and play them 30 minutes a game. Play your top guys 30 minutes a game, and just absolutely go for it in game 82. But you gotta have. It's a balance that they gotta strike, right? And I just hope that. I hope that they're going to strike that balance because, these games are getting nerve-wracking. Because, it wasn't even this game. If the Florida won, I would feel the exact same way, kind of. If they would have won in overtime, I mean, whatever. I would have been like, okay, whatever.
I'm glad that they got a point, but again...
Everyone's healthy.
Yeah, it would have been nice for Samsonov to get a shutout tonight, and that was crushed with 10 minutes to go in the third when Brandon Montour scored and almost blew the roof off the building in Sunrise.
Weird game. Yeah, weird.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, weird goal. But that's a weird goal.
Well,
took it all the way.
Well, it was weird, but Brody got beat, and so did McCabe, right?
Both
like Brody got beat, and McCabe had good positioning, but it went 3 inches past him, and that's the skill of an NHL goalie, right? Also, if you're in the chat, we do encourage you to visit the other shows, but nicely. We play nice here. Don't go to Kobe Meet and other Game Over shows. Those are our friends and those are our co-workers. So please be kind. But if you guys are ever I actually do this all the time. Fouad, I don't know if you do this, but like after we do a stream of like us against another one of the markets, I go and listen to the other Game Overs afterwards because I like listening to it and it's cool. It's cool hearing the other side of it, right? Like
what a weird concept. Being friends with people who are fans of different teams.
I know. Maybe not Berkshire, but I'm just kidding.
Mind.
Yeah. Now, and
I mean, if they say the Leafs suck, it's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't play for the Leafs.
No, definitely not. But definitely, if you guys are watching these streams, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. If you do go and check out the other streams, please be nice to everybody. They are our friends, and it is still our house, even though it's under a different city. It's still the SDPN home, so don't come into our house and start fights. So, Johnny Toronto scores with 21 seconds to go in overtime to seal up Game 80 and the last stream that you and I will be doing before the playoffs together.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Mm-hmm. How about that? Huh?
How about that? A whole season. And hopefully we get lots and lots. I can't wait to do Game 8 of the Stanley Cup playoffs with all of the SDPN people because it's going to be sweet. I cannot, you know what I'm going to do? When the Leafs make it to the second round this year, because I have confidence and I'm going to speak it into existence. Yes, not if, when. When the Leafs make it to the second round this year, I'm going to give a special shout out to Andrew Berkshire, who I know will be watching. It's going to be great. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see all of you there. I hope you all come for our game overs. We are discussing, because some of the game over people don't live right in Toronto. I live in Etobicoke, so I'm gonna go to at least a couple of the tailgate parties, and we're gonna see if at
I'm
least
your neighbor now. I'm in Etobicoke too. So
oh, nice. Okay.
I'm around the corner.
Nice. I didn't know that. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day. We might try and have me stream, like Zoom call in from one of the game overs if they win.
You should do like those streeters. You should do streeters, like that thing I've taken over TikTok.
I know, but then we're gonna have to bring all the equipment, and I don't have a microphone for that. I can't like bring this to downtown Toronto. I can't
hold your phone. You'd be like
speak into the microphone.
Like, speak into the phone. Yeah, I don't know. You may get some good people down there are pretty funny.
No, because I'm going to be using my phone to stream. Anyway, we'll discuss it later. But it's a very exciting thing, and I am so glad. I'm so glad that we were able to win tonight's game, even though it was tight, and even though the Leafs looked like they were getting caved in. The puck possession time was actually pretty even for most of the game. The Leafs had it for most of the game, but they just weren't getting a lot of shots on. But it doesn't matter how many. It matters how many went in. And at the end of the day, the Leafs win 2-1 in Sunrise over the Panthers to get the Islanders one step closer to the playoffs.Ey're in the playoffs now, right? Is that the official thing that's happening?
I think so. I'm going to go back to the chat. I think somebody said that, but that would just be that's a hilarious bit of irony. That is so good. Like I love irony. Oh, the ironing, as Bart Simpson would say.
Exactly. Oh, Mark Masters just tweeted out, what are you going to remember about today, Matthew Knies, that we won? JT's unreal breakaway goal. That was a pretty fun experience. Stepping on the ice for warm-ups for the first time was a pretty surreal moment. And having my family here to watch was pretty cool, too. What a good way to end the stream, eh? That we won. JT's unreal breakaway goal. That was a pretty fun experience. Let's just finish it with that. That's what we're going to remember about today's stream, that we won. Absolutely. JT's unreal breakaway backhand goal to put the Leafs up 2-1 over the Panthers in overtime in Sunrise with
put them
2
up in
games.
Overtime?
Yeah, put them up to win in overtime.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. It's fine. It's implied.
I have to do it. I have to point it out. Like Harnish.
It's such a pedantic way to end the stream. I was on a roll.
I know. I'm the worst. I can't resist. Like Harnish. He's like, oh, he was describing a player. He's like, oh, his bread and honey. And I said, did you say bread and honey? Isn't the expression bread and butter? I'm like, that's a good expression though. I like that. Honey sweetened. I don't know. That was my contribution.
Could be butter and honey. Anyway, Leafs win 2-1 in Sunrise over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tomorrow we're going to play against the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Harnish and I will be on, and we will be live after the final whistle. So make sure you guys hit like and subscribe. Make sure you guys come back tomorrow night and Thursday night too, and then next week for playoffs as well, because we will be here. We are going to be here next season too. Let's go. Big win. You can find me on Twitter at Lauren in the Six. You can find Fouad Solomon over here on the right-hand side of your screen. Go ahead. Pump yourself there, Fouad.
Yes. You can find me on Fouad_sports, I think, on Twitter. I don't tweet quite a lot because I don't know. And you can also find me on the SCPN YouTube channel and the Instagram and the TikToks doing some short videos because, get some good takes off for the NBA and NHL. Both are heading to the playoffs. Best time of year, honestly, my favorite time of year.
And baseball.
NHL playoffs. What's that?
And baseball is back.
Baseball, like, there's too much. I tune in July. After Canada Day, I'm all Jays. But there's too much going on. Anyway, I'm rambling here. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate all of you guys in the chat. All of you guys watching afterwards. Like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about Game Over Toronto, because we are heading into the real deal, the playoffs.
Let's go.
And we're going to be here. We're going to be stressed.
We will see you all tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.